Great to have you with us. In our first story, ranking member of the Defense and Interior Committee, James Agalga, is urging governments to deploy more health personnel along Ghana's borders to ensure persons entering the country are properly screened in the wake of a confirmed coronavirus case in Nigeria. He also wants more resources to be allocated to the fight against the COVID-19, which is now in 50 countries.
What do you think we should do as a country?
Well, the coronavirus outbreak is something that is frightening to all of us. This is essentially a health issue. We're briefed in Parliament about steps the government has put in place to prevent the outbreak of the virus in our country. But the news that has just reached us, which indicates that Nigeria has recorded its first case of coronavirus, actually now puts us on our toes. And so what that means is that a lot more is expected of us as a country to ensure that all those entering our country from Nigeria and other countries that have already recorded incidents of the coronavirus are properly screened. And where it is detected or people are diagnosed of having contracted the virus, they are placed in facilities, health facilities, where they can be given treatment, appropriate treatment, to ensure that the virus does not spread. We, as a country, we have a history. When Sierra Leone, Liberia had the outbreak of Ebola, Ghana became a center for the response effort to contain the Ebola virus. So with that rich experience and history, I am sure that if government puts its act together, we should be able to prevent an outbreak of the disease in this country. What is most important is for government to invest more resources in the fight against
already some monies have been allocated according to the some monies have been allotted according to the health experts.
Some allotments have been made, but listening to the health experts, it appears that government needs to do more in terms of investing resources so that we are very prepared for any eventuality. Okay. So it is an appeal I am making that government should invest more resources. Look, we don't lose much if we invest a lot and are able to prevent an outbreak. The moment we record an outbreak, we would even spend more. So it is better that we spend some resources, we invest some resources in our preventive measures.
We'll go to Nigeria shortly, where a case has been reported, but Kumungu MP Ras Mubarak is asking government what it is doing to ensure President Akufo-Addo is safe from the virus following his European tour. He says the president has been in Norway, where a case has been recorded as part of his tour. He quizzed the majority leader, Oseche Mensah-Bonsu, whether the president will be quarantined upon his return. Joseph Opoku Gakpo joins us on the line. Joseph, what was the response to Mr. Mubarak's question?
So the issue of coronavirus has become a bit of a topical issue on the floor this morning, following the majority leader, Oseche Mensah-Bonsu's delivery of the business statement in terms of what the House will be dealing with next week. So, for example, the minority spokesperson on foreign affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, was drawing his attention to a promise he gave last week that the health minister will be brought to the House to update MPs generally on Ghana's preparedness. And he's been asking how come that didn't happen and whether that would happen in the week ahead, with the majority leader said that will be done. Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa was also asking that urgent steps be taken to really evacuate Ghanaians. And he's been making the point that other countries have done him over the last few days, including South Africa. And so he wants those in Wuhan, the students, to be evacuated. On the specific question on President Akufo-Addo's tour, the majority leader's response was that he is treating Ras Mubarak's question with more like a pinch of salt, because then he thought that if there are people who should actually be quarantined in connection with circumstances of coronavirus, it's Ras Mubarak himself, because according to the majority leader, he's been coughing and no one knows where the cough is coming from, even when he's sitting in the chamber. So he more of laughed off that particular comment.
Okay.
But he went on to indicate that he supports the idea that the health minister should come to the House to update MPs generally.
Did he give a specific time that the health minister will be invited? Right. We understand that the NHIA has been on the floor of the House.
No. So the minority addressed the media briefing earlier in the morning, just here in Parliament House, led by the ranking member on health, that Kwabena Minta Akando. And Kwabena Minta Akando has been noting that they've observed the concerns that have come up in the course of the week about some health facilities not having electricity because they don't have money to pay for that as a result of the NHIA not paying them. And he's been indicating that it's a very worrying situation and that there is a need for the Ministry of Finance to, as soon as possible, release money to the Health Insurance Authority. He's been expressing concern that when it comes to the payment of the National Health Insurance Levy, which is 2.5% on various goods and services that government has been taking from all Ghanaians when they purchase goods and services, the money is supposed to go to the NHIS, but that is not happening. He says that in 2018, for example, government collected more than 1.57 billion Ghana cedis in terms of NHIL, but only 506 million was given to the authority.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Let's stay with the coronavirus outbreak. And Nigeria on Friday announced the first confirmed case of COVID-19, the novel coronavirus, in sub-Saharan Africa. The case is an Italian citizen who works in Nigeria and returned from Milan, Italy to Lagos, Nigeria on the 25th of February 2020. This was announced by the health minister in a statement on Twitter. He has in the last 2 hours been addressing the media on the matter. This video is courtesy our partners in Nigeria, Channels Television.
Lagos University Teaching Hospital, which is a part of the laboratory network of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. The patient is clinically stable, symptoms, and is being managed at the Infectious Disease Hospital in Yaba, Lagos. The government of Nigeria, through the Federal Ministry of Health, has been strengthening measures to ensure an outbreak in Nigeria is controlled and contained quickly. The multi-sectoral coronavirus preparedness group, led by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, has immediately activated its National Emergency Operations Center and will work closely with Lagos State Health Authorities, or let us say is already working closely with Lagos State Health Authorities to respond to this case and implement. I wish to assure all Nigerians that we have been beefing up our preparedness and capabilities since the first confirmation of cases in China.
Now, President Akufo-Addo says intertrading in Africa can result in the growth of the continent. Speaking at Chatham House in London, he said 30% of the Earth's minerals can be found in the African continent. Hence, trading among countries on the continent is an effective way to promote the progress Africa seeks for. This, he said, will enhance the development and employment of the African people.
It is estimated that 30% of the Earth's remaining minerals can be found on the continent. Africa is also becoming an important player in the world production of oil and gas. Yet most of these resources are exported in their raw form. And even for that, Africa does not derive its fair share of the values of these resources. From poorly designed contracts to illicit financial flows, billions are siphoned out of Africa every year. There are some obvious things that we need to do. We have to build robust institutions to protect ourselves. We must strengthen the capacities in our geological surveys so we know exactly what and how much resources we have. We have to establish legal departments in governments that ensure African countries get their due contracts that they signed. Our economies should be based on value addition in industrial activities, i.e. on things we make and grow. That is the best way we can take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area, whose secretariat is located in Ghana, a potential game changer in our quest to move Africa to a situation beyond aid. A large part of the growth and prosperity that we seek on the continent will come from us trading more amongst ourselves. Up till now, trade between African nations has remained low compared to other parts of the world. In 2000, intra-regional trade accounted for 10% of Africa's total trade and increased to 16% in 2015. Intra-regional trading in 2015, for example, amongst members of the European Union amounted to 70%, stood at 52% amongst the nations of Asia and 50% among the nations of North America. Surely, an expansion of intra-regional trade in Africa is one of the most effective ways to promote the progress we seek for Africa. It should guarantee a rapid enhancement in exchanges of our agricultural, financial, industrial, scientific, and technological products, which would enhance dramatically our attainment of prosperity and the prospects of employment for the African peoples, especially our youth.
Back home, and the latest Afrobarometer survey shows high cost, bias, and long delays prevent Ghanaians from using the formal justice system. Ghanaians say high costs, a bias in favor of the rich and powerful, and long delays are the three most important barriers that prevent citizens from using the formal justice system. While most Ghanaians endorse the legitimacy of the courts, they also see court officials as corrupt and untrustworthy, and believe people are treated unequally under the law. Listen to research analyst at CDD Guilfred Isiama, who spoke on News Desk earlier.
So in the Afrobarometer research or survey that we conducted, we asked Ghanaians about their perception of corruption for various institutions, and the justice sector was part of it. So we asked about the police, the judges and magistrates, the members of parliament and civil servants. And Ghanaians believe that apart from the police, they believe that the justice sector comes next in terms of those who are highly corrupt. It is true that they may not have had any contact with the justice system, but based on the information that they are fed with in the media, following especially the exposés in the judicial sector, Ghanaians have begun to form a certain kind of perception about how they think the justice sector is. So I think that is why we are seeing those high figures over the, about the corruption in the justice sector.
Give us a bit of breakdown in terms of some of the questions that you put to them.
Okay, so we asked Ghanaians a lot of questions, and then one was to examine the legitimacy of the court. So under the legitimacy of the court, we asked Ghanaians. There were two statements, so we asked them whether they think the president should obey the court, even when the president disagrees with the court. And most Ghanaians, about 77%, agreed to the statement that the president must always obey the law court, even when he disagrees. And we had a minority who indicated that the president may also ignore the court. This tells us that people still have a lot of, the court still with a lot of legitimacy in the eyes of Ghanaians, because from our history, the president is usually seen as the father of the nation, is the most powerful institution on the land.
Now, Mr. Siama also explained they expect reforms in the judicial system after this report.
I think that the judiciary has been very responsive to Afrobarometer findings over the years. And if you see the issues that have been raised here, I think some of them are being addressed by specific policies by the judiciary. So if you look at the anti-corruption action plan for the judicial sector, it talks about instilling integrity, promoting accountability and transparency, and the responsiveness of the judicial sector. And when you instill integrity, it means you are going to fight corruption. When you promote transparency, you are fighting corruption. When you promote accountability, you are fighting corruption. And you are, at the same time, you are also trying to encourage people to use the justice system because now they understand. And I think it is remarkable to see the website of the Judicial Service which gives a lot of information. It used not to be. But due to the reforms that they have put in place, now they have a website very effective, and there are a lot of information there for public to access. So these things all go into trying to resolve the issue about people's perception about the judiciary, as well as to them not being transparent, as to the corruption in the judicial sector. When they implement the anti-corruption action plan, we believe will contribute to, again, the court also has instituted a paperless system, which is now being piloted. And the aim of the paperless system is to ensure that cases that are sent to court are processed very fast, and then justice can be served, and to reduce the number of delays or that long period of time that the cases travel. So I think all these things that Ghanaians have raised are being responded to in one way or the other.
Staying with the courts, the fate of Auditor General Daniel Domelevo will be decided by an Accra High Court on April 1. The senior minister, Yao Osafo-Maafo, is in court asking that Mr. Domelevo be punished for failing to respond to his case challenging a $1 million surcharge on him. His lawyers want the court to either impose a prison term or any appropriate sanctions against Mr. Domelevo. Court correspondent Joseph Akable was in court as the case was heard once again, and joins us with more. Joe, we know the Chief Justice reassigned the case to a new division of the High Court. Which division is this, and what's transpired in court today?
And so the case is currently before the Financial and Economic Division of the High Court. Earlier I was at the Commercial Division, but it's now been moved to the Financial Division, presided over by Justice Efia Asari-Botwe. On the very first day today when the case was called, as she said, because of the characters involved and the nature of their work, being busy public officers, she wants to deal with it expeditiously. And so she asked that they file written arguments within 21 days and return to the court on April 1, at which date a ruling will be ready. In terms of the substantive case relating to whether or not the $1 million surcharge imposed on the senior minister should remain or not, that case has also been adjourned to April 1 for the lawyers to discuss after the ruling on the contempt what should happen going forward, Daniel.
So that substantive case of whether or not that surcharge is valid is being heard in the same court?
That is so, Daniel.
So the judge, after hearing, what bearing do you think the first case will have on the second? For instance, if Mr. Domelevo should lose the first case, what is his hope for the second one?
In fact, Mr. Domelevo's lawyer, Sadio Sori, had wanted them to proceed to deal with the second case, but the point lawyer for the senior minister, Yao Pong, made was to the effect that if indeed the court finds that he is in contempt and indeed filed his response in court too late, that will mean that he has actually not even filed a response. And so that will mean that that case should be thrown out, his response should be thrown out entirely for the court to proceed to deal with what Mr. Osafo-Maafo has filed on his own, challenging it. And so as far as Sadio Sori is concerned, there are two different cases. But for the lawyers for the senior minister, the two cases are connected such that if the court rules in favor of the senior minister, it follows through that they could get a favorable judgment in their in terms of coming in their favor in terms of that particular matter. And so that is how lawyers on both sides see it to be. But the judge wants to deal with the contempt one first before she decides to deal with the other case relating to the $1 million surcharge. Is
that any indication that the judge is agreeing with Mr. Pong on this matter?
On that particular score, she agrees that they want to dispose of the contempt one before they proceed to deal with the substantive one.
Thank you very much, Joseph. It's going to be an interesting next couple of weeks, especially after the 1st of April. Now, still serving justice, two women are to spend 6 months each in prison for sanitation breaches. They were put before court on Thursday after the KMA Love and Insura FM Sanitation Enforcement Task Force issued summons to them for operating in a filthy environment. Erastus Asaridonko, who was in court, reports a third person was fined 1,200 Ghana cedis, while a bench warrant has been issued for the arrest of 5 others.
8 women found cooking in a filthy environment were summoned before the Asim District Court, but they failed to show up on the first day, compelling the court to issue bench warrants for the arrest. 3 of them were arrested and hauled to the court by the task force Thursday. Presiding Judge, Her Worship Ali Atta Said, convicted them on their own plea and fined them 100 penalty units, which amounts to 1,200 Ghana cedis. However, Akuya Frafra and Esther told the court they preferred the prison sentence because they cannot afford the fine. The judge slapped the 6-month jail term on them. Enoch Nkansa is the prosecutor.
They admitted having caused the offense and that the court convicted them to a fine of 100 penalty units each. In default, they will go to prison for 6 months. Really, 2 of them were not able to pay their fines and have been dispatched to the central prisons right now. 1 other has been granted bail with 1 surety to pay the amount at the end on the 12th of March. Yes.
Did they make an attempt to pay, or why did the judge proceed to the next level of imprisoning them?
Yeah, they were not ready to pay the amount fined them, so they had to be sent to the prison. When they are ready to pay, they'll bring them back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I learned one of them, her utterances in court did not please the judge.
Yeah, when she was brought to the dock, she was laughing and wasn't serious. Her demeanor was just something that was not pleasing the judge. See, so the judge said she should be warned. The judge warned her, but all the same, she kept laughing and all that sort of thing. So that the sentence was mentioned, and she's now panicking, and she has been sent to the prisons till she paid the fines. She will not be released.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asare Donko, Kumasi.
Now, a nationwide cleanup exercise has been scheduled to commemorate Ghana's 63rd independence anniversary to be climaxed in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi. Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah says the initiative, slated for 29th of this month, is meant to promote a healthy environment for the occasion. All metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies have been directed to mobilize their people for the exercise. Ohiming Teria reports.
The Kumasi cleanup coincides with a similar event on the same day under the KMA Love FM and Ishra FM sanitation campaign, which has been running since last year. Traders and other residents are expected to take part in the first of periodic exercises to be undertaken at least quarterly. Highlights of the anniversary include Presidential Independence Quiz and Awards, Armed Forces Open Day, and Interdenominational Thanksgiving Service. Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago and other heads of state from West Africa are expected to grace Ghana's independence anniversary. Mr. Osei-Mensah told journalists the occasion under the theme, Consolidating Our Gains, will be preceded by a beautification program in Kumasi.
On 29th, there will be cleanup exercise across the region. It's nationwide, but here my focus is on Ashanti. The major areas of great concern are the corridors to the Garden City, especially from Jaso, coming through Konongo, through Ejuso, up to Kumasi. We will paint the median from Ejuso up to Fumesa in red and white as a form of beautifying the city or the region. All the districts and municipalities are all going to do their cleanup. The next one will be What Do You Know competition. That is 1st of March. And the venue is Great Hall, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. There's National Flag Hosting Day. That is 2nd March. So we all fly the national flags. We host them at our workplaces to indicate that we've begun the celebration in earnest.
Mr. Osei-Mensah also encouraged residents to wear traditional clothes on March 3, 2020 to portray the rich culture of Ashanti region.
On the 3rd of March, we have what we call Represent Ashanti. And what we mean by Represent Ashanti is that across the region, we should wear traditional dresses, preferably kente and other adinkra, to show the culture of the region or of the Ashantis.
From Kumasi for Joy News, Oyemi reporting.
Coming up in business, Senior Minister directs freight forwarders and other stakeholders to switch to new system effective March 1. There's more after this in the business segment. Stay with us.